Welcome to Sam Outside. I'm Sam and I'm outside, discovering another one of the wondrous forms of vegetation here in the forest, but more specifically, here along the shore of beautiful Heart Lake. All right, it's not a big lake, and at one end, it definitely gets a little more marsh-like, a little bit more shallow, and part of the forest is slowly being reclaiming the shoreline. So what happens is the moss and the other vegetation slowly start to encroach, and with that comes new life, different life, things that really love wet feet. And one of the best examples is this little plant right here. This is Drosera, otherwise known as Sundew. Now, the Sundew, believe it or not, is one of the most diverse, one of the most prolific, and one of the most widespread of our carnivorous plants. That's right, this little thing is carnivorous. Now, they are found on every continent except Antarctica, all right? Well, for the obvious reasons, but they can take many different forms, but they all function the same way. Some grow a little bit larger, but this specific subspecies, like all other Sundew, they have special little sticky glands that lure, trap, and digest insects. All right, so each of the little flower tops here has a little gland. All right, it's a Mucilaginous. That's a fancy word for saying sticky. All right, so there'd be a scent, and an ant or a beetle, maybe even something a little larger, might come along and get a little bit of it stuck, and then, right, eventually as it struggles to break free, the rest of the little stems covered in sticky mucus start to get attracted, get trapped. The insect gets exhausted, and you can see there's one little example there where the little stem actually starts, a flower petal starts to slowly wrap around as it feels the the struggle, as it feels the rest of it being trapped. It slowly starts to enclose, and then that's where the work happens. It gets digested. So these plants, they need extremely acidic. That's what you're going to find around these peat marshes here. All right, so this kind of area behind me, the shoreline. All right, very wet. So quite popular actually for people to try and cultivate indoors, but they need constant moisture and humidity. All right, they love direct sunlight, so they don't mind their heat, but they need wet feet. So you can see this little piece of wet, it literally came off of that log down there. So I'm going to put it back here in a moment. But as I take a look at all of the different logs, and sometimes they're not even logs, sometimes they're just growing right out of the peat. So if there's something structural, so right there in the moss, but anyways, any of these logs, they're just going to be covered in sundew. All right, and we'll see the ants and the other insects, the flies, right? They're going to come get attracted by the scent, whether it's sweet or whether it smells. Some varieties might actually have a scent that actually smells like decaying animal, so that'll attract the ants, the insects, and the plant gets to feed itself. So the plant's actually not getting anything out of the peat, getting anything off of the decomposing log. It's not going through the process of photosynthesis, making its own food the way that all other producers do. All right, the carnivorous plants are getting their energy out of the prey. That's right. So they're carnivorous. All right, so they're carnivores. All right, so exceptions to the rule of other producers, other plant life. So it's neat to think that different peoples can find their version of this everywhere on the planet except Antarctica. So I always thought they were pretty neat, and I've played with them as a kid, and I still am. They're still a marvel to me now, and I thought I'd take a moment to share. So thank you very much for watching. See if you can find some sundew in a wet area near you. All right, be curious. Thanks for watching. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.